Hi guys, Spartan765 here. Today I'm doing a video, kind of a more in-depth video on what I think is probably one of the best subcompact double-stage carry guns on the market today. When I say the best, I mean, you know, there are other guns that, you know, are all steel framed or, you know, solid aluminum framed, you know, that cost quite a bit more. You know, but as far as, you know, what you get for your money, I think that the Ruger LC9 is the best subcompact carry gun ever made. And that's my opinion. Okay. Now, first off, I'm going to start off by saying I'm going to compare this gun to another gun that a lot of people will say, oh, it's a rip-off of, you know, the Cal-Tech PF9. A lot of people will say that the Ruger LC9 is a rip-off of the Cal-Tech PF9. And honestly, I just simply don't think that's true. Okay, here's what I'm going to say. Yeah, the trigger's similar, the action's similar. It's a very similar gun. And Ruger may have, I mean, I'm not even sure. This is something that's very inconclusive on the internet. No one can really find out for sure, if Ruger kind of copied the Cal-Tech's design or based their gun off the Cal-Tech design. Even if that's true, who cares? I mean, whatever. This is a far superior weapon to the Cal-Tech PF9. It is made out of better materials. The polymer is much nicer. The frame is much nicer. I mean, if you ever held a Cal-Tech PF9, the grip sucks. It's kind of squared at the back instead of rounded like a Ruger. Yeah, it's got the light rail up here for something, or a laser rail, but there's molding marks all over that thing, and it just looks grubby. And the slide and barrel material is not as good as the LC9. Now, you know, you can look up Cal-Tech PF9 range guns. There's an article, I think it's on the firing line forum, I'm not exactly sure, I can't remember, but if you find it, if you type that in, you should find it. It's an article about a guy who bought 10 Cal-Tech PF9s for a range, just for a range gun, you know, like for rentals. All of them broke within like 500 rounds. I mean, the gun, they just don't make good guns, in my opinion. And, I mean, and that's a lot of people's opinions if you look online. I mean, it's just people who've owned them don't like them. I mean, you get the people who carry them. Yeah, you'll carry them. I mean, if you only shoot 200 rounds to the gun, I guess that's fine. But I'd prefer to carry, it's only $100 more than Cal-Tech PF9. I prefer to carry a superior product that's going to be reliable and last, you know, a couple thousands of rounds. First off, I mean, there's one disadvantage. First I'm going to talk about the flaws, because I'm not just going to sit here and say, you know, this is the perfect firearm. This gun has its flaws, as does every gun. There's no such thing as a perfect gun. First off, the magazines for these guns are expensive. They're like $35 a piece. It's ridiculous. But the magazines are made in Italy. I don't know why, but they're expensive. The magazines are very expensive. Alright. The second thing that sucks about this gun, or that I didn't like, is it has one of those stupid magazine safeties where you can't pull the trigger, or it won't actuate the hammer if the magazine is out. When I got the gun and got it home, the first thing I did was took that stupid magazine safety out. They're pointless. I mean, honestly, if you get home and you carry locked and cocked, obviously the gun's unloaded. All guns are unloaded in this room, except for my carry gun that's on me. If you carry locked and cocked and you get home and you're stupid enough to take your magazine out and think your gun's unloaded without checking it, you're an idiot. Alright. Yeah, magazine safeties are just completely stupid, I think. Another thing this thing has is this just ugly-ass fucking massive chamber load indicator. Loaded when up. I mean, it's huge. It's ridiculous. Like the chamber load indicator in the XD-M45, that's another gun I have that has one of these indicators. It's a smaller indicator. I don't mind it. It's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But this one is just huge. I mean, it really wants to make sure you know loaded when up. I mean, then again, that falls into you should know if your gun's loaded. I mean, and you can even see right through there. There's a little opening in the side here where you can actually see if there's a round in there. Now, this chamber loaded indicator, I mean, I'm sure there are ways. I mean, I've thought about removing it or modifying it and refinishing it to where it's just the same finish, blued finish as the gun, and removing this little tab on here that makes it pop up, so it just would be a flush piece, or making something on a mill that would fit in there and be just locked in there, so it would just fill in the blank space if I took it out. Because I don't really care for that. I don't really need the chamber loaded indicator on there. There's already a window you can see in the side if the gun is loaded. I mean, and really, I mean, here, let me get a snap cap so I can show you how you can see it. Okay, here's a snap cap. As you can see, it's a snap cap, not a real bullet. But I mean, yeah, I mean, you can see right in there. I mean, I hope the lighting's okay so you can see, but here, I'll get a flashlight here. But yeah, you could see, as you can see right in there, that, you know, you could clearly see that the bullet in there. I mean, it's almost like that window's probably put there intentionally so you can see if it's loaded. Yeah. Unloaded. Yeah, so, I mean, not only do you got the window, but the chamber load indicator I think is completely ridiculous. And there's just... Okay, but whatever. I did not let that deter me from buying this gun. Yes, the Cal-Tech PF9 does not have the chamber load indicator, I know that. I fired the Cal-Tech PF9, I hate the grip, I hate the trigger pull, and I just don't like the way it feels at all. But anyway. Now we're gonna go, we got the negatives out of the way. Like I said, every gun has their negatives. I mean, that is just, you know, if you sit there and you do a dishonest, you know, if you're going to do a gun review, make it honest. Don't, you know, just say all the positive things and leave out the negative things, because that's not a review. That's a biased review. All right. Now, another thing is this gun is extremely easy to field strip. You know, it takes apart similar to the Cal-Tech PF9. You got a pinhole here, or you got a little gate you drop down, pull the slide back, and push that pin out, or just kind of out like that. It's got a nice barrel on it. It's got strong rifling in the barrel. I mean, the barrel, I mean, it's pretty accurate. I mean, for a little subcompact, it is pretty accurate. I mean, it is plus P rated. Anyway, that's what it said on the internet about it. I mean, I personally would not shoot plus P through it. I've never shot plus P through it. I don't recommend shooting plus P through your guns. It is harder on them, and it's just, no. I mean, but again, like I said, if you're going to shoot plus P through this gun, look it up on Ruger's website. Make sure it's safe. That's just a disclaimer, you know. But yeah, it's got adjustable rear sight, as does the Cal-Tech PF9. The sights on the Ruger are way nicer than the Cal-Tech PF9. The grip is more textured, rounded on the back, which is really nice for a fit with your hand. If you ever had Cal-Tech PF9, it's kind of squared. I don't like it. Magazine release is nice. On Cal-Tech PF9 it's similar, but I like the texturing of the Ruger grip. Yes, the Ruger does not have the light rail, but honestly, I don't really care about that. I'm not going to put a light on my subcompact carry gun. Trigger pull on it is nice and smooth. It's a nice, smooth trigger pull. As you can see, it's unloaded here. But it's got a very nice, smooth trigger pull. Another thing that's nice about it, on mine anyway, and I'm sure it's like this in all of them, when the hammer lines up with the back, with this, with the receiver here, the receiver is this metal insert that's in the frame, lines up with that, then it's a hair trigger, then it's just about to go off. So, I mean, if you don't want to do, you know, you should, with your double action onlys, you should practice how to do that smooth, straight trigger pull all the way back until it clicks, and then shoot accurately like that. I mean, because in a real life situation, you're not going to sit there and watch the hammer come back until it lines up and then pull the trigger for an accurate shot. You got to learn how to pull the trigger smoothly all the way back and know that firing point where the hammer drops, so you can shoot accurately with a double stage. That's the thing that sucks about double stage only, is, you know, you have to deal with that lengthy trigger pull, but is what it is. Like I said, the Ruger costs about $100 more. The magazines cost more, but in the end, you're getting a quality product. It's an accurate, very, very reliable gun. These are guns that, you know, just look it up on the internet. I mean, these guns will last through a high round count. The Cal-Tech PF9s generally tend to fail, you know, after a decent number of rounds have been shot through them. Like I said, look up Caltech rental gun failures. But these Ruger LC9s will outlast the Caltechs. I mean, you know, like they say, you know, Caltech should come out with the full-size handgun, and then they can compete with High Point. But then again, I'd rather have a High Point than a Caltech, because, you know, if you've ever watched Iraq's veteran High Point torture test, the High Points, they're blocky, they're crappy, they're, you know, whatever, but hey, they last, apparently. As far as, you know, detail taking this thing down, I mean, it's not, you know, incredibly complicated. I mean, you pop these two plastic pins out here that hold this in, take this cap off the bottom here, this is for your hammer springs in there. I mean, it's pretty easy. I mean, it's nothing, you know, that, I mean, you have to have a massive knowledge of gunsmithing to do. As far as the weight goes, I mean, I do think, I mean, the Caltech is a little bit lighter. I mean, but I, you know, haven't held a Caltech in a long time. I think it might be an ounce lighter, but who cares about an ounce? I mean, honestly, if you're going to carry a gun to protect your life, an ounce doesn't matter. That's stupid. You know, ounces equal pounds, you know, no. I'd rather carry a better gun that weighed, you know, a half a pound more than a gun that, you know, I wasn't 100% sure I could rely my life on. But yeah, that's the review of the Ruger LC9, and like I said, I just had it, or I didn't say it yet, I had it at the range the other day, and it's shooting perfectly. I've never had one malfunction with this gun yet. Hopefully it stays that way. Again, I haven't shot plus P through it. I don't ever intend to shoot plus P through it. I wouldn't recommend shooting plus P through it. But yeah, I mean, being a subcompact though, a 9mm, it is a little snappy compared to, like, obviously like a Glock 19 or a Glock 17. But yeah, that's because it's a shorter barrel. That's gonna happen. But the recoil on it isn't too bad. It's definitely manageable, very manageable. They do make extended magazines for these, where you can get a finger extension or a magazine base extension that comes out. I think it's 9 rounds. I don't have one of those yet, but the magazine, when you buy the gun, does come with one magazine and a finger extension and a regular mag plate, floor plate, which is, let's see if I have another mag laying around. Here's the other magazine here. Got the one with the finger extension, the one without the finger extension. And even the one without the finger extension, you can still shoot the gun pretty comfortably. I mean, you just have your pinky wrapped down the bottom like that, depending on how big your hands are. I'd practice shooting with both magazines at the range. Just to see, you know, which one you might like better. Some people actually like to have a pinky wrapped around, you know, versus this. Personally, I prefer the finger extension. You know, if you've ever seen the Ruger LCPs, they have the finger extension that's just crazy, that comes, you know, goes down like an inch. That is really uncomfortable. I held one of those once in a gun shop with that crazy finger extension on there. It was a used gun, and it was just, oh, not easy to hold. But yeah, I mean, that's it. That's my more in-depth review on the Ruger, I should say. Oh, by the way, cleaning this thing is a breeze. It cleans really easily. No issues at all with the cleaning. So I should bring that out there. I mean, you just Rem oil, wipe off the inside of the frame and receiver, and inside of the slide. Firing pins are kind of a pain to take out. You can't really do that with basic field stripping, but I mean, firing pin channel doesn't really get that dirty anyway. Comments, questions, send me a message. Spartan765 out.